Regime change, two words that have been used extensively for Iran since the country's 12-day war with Israel in June last year. 8 months later, on February 28th, the US and Israel carried out joint strikes on Iran and assassinated the supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. But now, the tone and outlook appears to have changed. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio sidelined regime change in Iran as a goal of American strikes on the country. The top official from Trump's administration said that it is up to the people of Iran to overthrow the Islamist regime.
Two things, and two things can be true. Number one is our mission and our focus is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities and their ability to manufacture them, as well as the threat posed by their Navy to global shipping. That's our objective. That said, we would not mind, we would not be heartbroken, and we hope that the Iranian people can overthrow this government and establish a new future for that country. We would love for that to be possible. But the objective of this mission is the destruction of their ballistic missile capabilities and of their naval capabilities.
Israel's Prime Minister echoed a similar sentiment. Benjamin Netanyahu, who has previously very strongly advocated for regime change in Iran, has now said it is on the country's own people to change the government.
Now, of course, it's up to the people of Iran in the final count to change the government. But we are creating, America and Israel together are creating the conditions for them to do so.
In fact, even as the US President in his Monday address laid out extensively the military operations undertaken by American forces, but Trump evaded any mention of regime change in Iran and focused his remarks only on claims, nuclear threats, and Iran's missile capabilities. The change in tone has triggered several questions on what Trump administration's current stance is. With respect to Iran's political landscape, is Washington moving from a regime change objective to regime adjustment? If so, does that mean that the US president might open negotiation channels again? For the moment, it seems no is the answer. Minutes ago, the US president shared a post on social media platform Truth Social. In the post, Trump said that it was now too late for talks with Iranian officials. Let's now talk to Mr. John Erath. He's a senior policy director for the Center for Arms Control and Non-Proliferation in Washington. Mr. John Erath, it's good to see you. Let's talk about what is really happening here, because there has been a change of tone. Do you think, let's start from, do you think Israel and the United States have met their objectives? And those objectives, what were they and what are they now?
That's a really good question, and I wish I had better answers to this, because the messaging coming out of the White House has been somewhat confusing. Initially, the message was that the U.S. attacks were aimed at destroying Iranian nuclear capabilities. Now it is shifted to destroying the capabilities to produce ballistic missiles and the Iranian Navy. So I'm not sure what the ultimate objective is. You discussed the possibility of regime change. I think that there was some expectation that the attacks would lead to further popular protests against the Iranian regime. That appears not to have happened. But the whole picture is somewhat confusing.
Mr. Erath, what is the direction that this war is going to take going forward? Because President Trump says that Iran had asked to talk to him, but now he says it's too late for that to happen. Iran, on the other hand, says that we are not ready to resume the talks, and diplomacy has been thrown out the window.
If you recall, after the June 2025 attacks, the Iranian government said something very similar, that the possibility for further discussions was now gone, that there was a situation of hostility. But several months later, they went back to negotiations. So I think that the door is open for that to happen again. Everyone is going to make some nationalistic statements for their own people and for their own popularity and for political reasons. But practically speaking, there is not a military solution to the problem set here. It's got to come down to diplomacy, and the possibility for diplomacy should always be there.
Mr. Erath, let's talk about the statements being made by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. He says that the United States learned that Israel was about to strike Iran, and that's why they moved in and supported Israel in their efforts to bomb Iran. But now Netanyahu says that that is not true. He has dismissed Rubio's claim. He says that this was a joint effort between him and President Trump. What do you read from this confusion?
You've used the apt word yet again. It is confusion. I think that there has not been coordination between the U.S. and Israel on the messaging, and so you're seeing some of these mixed messages come forward. The truth is probably both are somewhat accurate. There was some level of coordination. It did not appear to be full and effective, and certainly that is reflected in the messaging.
Mm-hmm. The flashpoint now is the Gulf countries, because there is fear that if at all they have a unified front or stance that they are against Iran, what ripple effect would that have on Iran?
I think that Iran has already demonstrated that it is against the Gulf countries. It has carried out attacks in each one of those countries. The attacks have targeted civilian infrastructure and civilian facilities, not just military targets. This may be a function of the weapons Iran is using, which are not terribly accurate. But in any case, civilians have died in the Gulf countries, and so they find themselves perhaps unwillingly drawn into the conflict.
Mr. Erath, let me go back to this issue about regime change, because President Trump did indicate that he wants the people of Iran to come out on the streets and protest and force their regime to go away. But that is not easy, because they thought that by eliminating Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, then a full-blown change will take cause in Iran. But that is highly unlikely.
I think you have that correct. It is highly unlikely. The Iranians had a set of mass protests several weeks ago. This did not change the government, and it's unclear what, if any, the reason would be to expect a different result this time around. It's not been the case in the past that a government has been changed through airstrikes. Autocratic governments fall in their own time for their own reasons. And someday this will happen in Iran, but I don't think it's time for that yet.
Mr. John Erath, thank you very much for your insights and for talking to us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you for inviting me.